that basically, you saw this when I did the fee tickets. It's the same type of thing. And that is, we get to choose things. Like, let's say I only want patients that are, again, it's going to be who owes me money. Maybe I only want the patients that are Blue Cross or Blue Shield or commercial. Okay. Maybe I only want everybody that where I have a balance that's more than $240. Why isn't it letting me type? My numeric key, Numlox key. Huh? Oh, because of the error came up? Whatever. I would be able to type it in. I don't know why it's not letting me type. In addition to that, I only want patients that owe me money for more than 60 days. Okay? By the way, something that's very nice about our system, our aging is actually done based on the transaction and what's owed, basically what's owed on the transaction and the aging date of the transaction. We don't use buckets. Now, most systems don't, but it's important to know that we don't either. So take the case of a patient that came in January 1st. They had we did a 99212 for them, and the charge was $120, and they've paid $20 of it. So we have $100 remaining on it. Okay. It doesn't matter. We don't have any updating. No updating of the database. That is going to go by the date 1/1/2008, $100. So when we run it, if we run a report there, we want to see aging of everything that's 31 days delinquent. It's exactly 31 days delinquent. Okay, we do by the actual date. Now, why did I say aging date as opposed to transaction date? Let's pretend this patient was a Medicare patient. We post that transaction January 1st, okay? When it starts out, it's insurance responsible. We can't really the patient doesn't owe the money until Medicare pays. We have the system set up so that if Medicare pays on February the 15th and it then flips that whatever's left over, now let's just pretend $16 is left over. It actually flags that transaction as now patient responsible and resets the aging date to the date that it flipped to patient transaction, patient owed. So now it's not going to be aged from the first, it's going to be aged from the 15th because that's when the patient became responsible for it. Okay, so we really do a very good job of keeping that detail in the PM system. All right, so I run this. I probably would schedule to print this out. And, I'm going to print it out today, but I'm also going to print it out on the 4th of every month. And I'm going to print it out February 4th. And I would set it up to run as a job. Now, okay. All right, very good, Dave. All right. Now, the output on this report comes out in a hard copy. It's a hard copy report. When I say hard copy, it could go to a PDF file, but the format is set. It's always going to look the same no matter what I select. The end result's the same. That's this. So a few years ago, we realized that these reports are nice and all that type of stuff, but people wanted to be able to actually export data to an Excel spreadsheet, not just hard copy. Okay? You with me? Cheryl? Following? Okay. So what we have is we have a report generator, which is a whole different series of reports. In general, we've taken most of these hard copy reports and we've moved them over to the report generator where it makes sense. Some of them don't make sense, like the day sheet. It didn't make sense to put that in the report generator report. The technology of the report generator is as follows. You pick the report you want, so I'm going to pick one. I'm going to actually pick it's actually, they start off by a type, procedure productivity report. Under that, you pick which report you want. You with me? And actually, I wanted something different. Sorry, that wasn't a good example. Procedure totals. I want procedure totals by department for a particular period. So that's what I'm gonna have. And now when I execute it, if there's anything that needs anything selection criteria, it's gonna ask me to select. Like in this case, what period do you want, right? So I'm gonna select it, and I'm gonna say through period of January 2008, and the start period. I'm gonna do it just for January 2008. What departments do I want to run it for? I can run it for one department, or of course using the shift control. In this case, I'm going to select all of my departments. And it's probably maybe ask me, okay, so it's going to run the query. So it runs the query. It's going to return the results to my screen. There's the results. And now what I do is I'm going to now take the results and I'm going to import them into Excel. I can manipulate it, save it, graph it, etc. This is also the tool we use for doing custom reports because someone goes, I want to see left-handed people versus right-handed people for da 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 da, and we go, we'll write that for you. We'll write a query because it's a very easy query tool to use. And there's at this point there's probably about 180 reports in the report generator. So I'm not going to go through and show them all to you, but when you go on your system, you can do it. Okay. Now, a couple of things here. When I went into the system, I want to talk a little bit about our admin module and the permissions. I know that Debbie showed this to you. I'm just going to bring up somebody. This is a role. For every one of those hard copy reports, see the reports here? I can indicate by role if they can run the report or not. You see these? That's the procedure revenue report, provider productivity report, etc., etc. I went into admin, and then I went into permissions. By the way, I tell the prospect that I'm the administrator. I have access to everything. Wouldn't that be stupid of me if I didn't give myself permission to show you everything? But this is a role, okay? So you can selectively say which reports they can run. Now, you will see that the reports that are on here are exclusive of the report generator report. You won't see any of the report generator reports on this. So how do we handle that? Those were the, quote, hard copy reports. You with me, Gordon? Okay. If you go back into the reports and the report generator reports, you'll see something called report generator lists. This is where you can take and create a list. I'm going to create a new list. John's list. I'm going to pretend that John is the only one. That these are. I'm going to create reports that John is a low-end user, and I only want him to run certain report generator reports. I'm going to allow him to run this one. This one, you see, I'm double-clicking and it's coming down here. Okay. I want to be able to run this one, etc. I'll just say these 4 reports, and John has been assigned a particular role. So that means when John signs in, he's only going to see lists that are allowed with that particular role. When I went in, I could see everything because I'm the administrator. But you see how we can then have only certain people be able to run certain report generator reports? Okay. So that's reports in a nutshell. And as you noticed from the demo I did to the IPA guy, you just have to know your prospect and know what's important to them. I talk to him about the reimbursements and about the patient tracking because that's what IPAs care about.
Right. Okay, how do you do it where each individual practice is doing their thing and then a bigger entity is seeing all of the reporting?
That's a long discussion.
Okay, but we can do that?
Um, we have to know that we're going to want to do well. If you're talking about different practices, what in one database?
Well, how would you explain it to an IPA or a bigger entity?
The way to do it, the way to do it to an IPA or a bigger entry is we would make their IPA an enterprise,
Okay.
and within the database structure, each one of the entities is a company, and so we can report across